right. Yeah, thanks, Jasmine. I'll fill in, do a little intro here. We had a little bit of a late curveball, and unfortunately, our client, our mutual client, Kimberly, was unable to join. But I'm going to do my best here with Lalo to try to fill in for the outline of the things that we were going to talk about today. Um, M&Y Personal Injury Attorneys is a very major client of ours that uses all three of our core services, and they're a firm that does a lot of heavy litigation. So I think we'll kind of go through some of the basics of their setup and how they're able to use the InfoTrack integration to just really dramatically streamline their ability to do high volume litigation, to track all their expenses automatically as they happen for all of their court filing and their process serving. And then we'll try to leave some time at the end to go over a service called Docket Sync that actually allows them to pull docket all the documents from the public docket immediately right into their Filevine projects and refresh automatically, so they can stay up to date on the latest things that are happening in their case, and nobody has to go check on those things themselves. But Lalo here from our product team is going to be kind of illustrating these concepts. He's going to take you through a little bit of their setup. Now, we're not going to be actually showing M&Y's exact setup because obviously that's all, their proprietary client information. We don't want to get into all that, but we've set up an environment to look very much like the environment that M&Y would be using. And we're going to just start from how you can set up, like basically what your Filevine projects will look like when you set up this free, the integration portion, adding it to your Filevine projects is completely free. So you can explore that yourself. And we'll kind of go over all of that first, I think. So Lalo, sorry, I lost my voice there for a second. Laura, do you mind sharing your screen and kind of showing them the basic setup of what a project would look like with those features added?
Course. Well, hello everyone. My name is Eduardo, also known as Lalo. I'm a senior product manager at InfoTrack, part of the integrations and data team. And I'm happy to be here with you all, walking you through how an integration with InfoTrack and Filevine operates. So first and foremost, let me share my screen. So we do have a simulated Filevine account. Please confirm when I'm sharing my screen. Can you guys see my Filevine?
Yes. We
Yep. Yes.
can. Looks
Perfect.
good.
Thank you.
Perfect.
Wonderful. Okay. So to give you guys some context, this is a simulated account within the actual Filevine environment. It wouldn't have as much information as all of y'all's real Filevine firm accounts, but it does get the point across in which how you would get to interact with InfoTrack. So essentially, InfoTrack has multiple services that integrate directly through Filevine, like Alex mentioned. There's court filing services, service of process, as well as the Docket Sync service, which we'll also get to it a little bit later, in addition to other services also available through our integration. But the core items that I want to focus on in this demo is how we've streamlined your current workflow into an integrated space. So from a traditional perspective, if you're currently a Filevine user and you're filing into court systems across the United States, you're probably used to dealing with the direct court portals where you have to log in to, let's say, Odyssey from Tyler Technologies or JTI in California, FSX in a few places. And you know how it is to have your files in all of your projects, how you're organized, and how you've made this beautiful space for you and your business within Filevine, but you still have to go to the desktop to get those files, and you still have to download those files that you've organized within Filevine, or you still have to go and upload them directly. And once you've gone through the workflow within each of these different EFMs or these filing managers from the portals, you still have to go find those emails and make sure you don't lose that email and then write it in the correct space so you can remember that expense coming back, right? And you also have to go and hunt down that document to make sure you put it in the right place as it comes back into your Filevine space, right? You would see it here or however you organize your folders, depending on your matters and your projects. So all that takes time. It takes a lot of headspace and mental ability to focus on your task at hand and also remember to do all these things for every single filing you make. So there is a way to simplify this and to take some of that load off of your mind and let you focus on more important things, which is what the integration provides. So as you set up InfoTrack, InfoTrack is a really simple setup. It takes 10 minutes at most. You will see a launch button that takes you directly into your integrated space. So once you've set up, you'll see something similar to this, where you click launch into InfoTrack. Your accounts are automatically provided through our connection to Filevine. So you will see the authorization happen. You will see the handshake between InfoTrack and Filevine, and you would land directly within your projects. I'll just need my internet to load. 1 second, please. All right.
Well, if you
All
send that
right,
up, yeah,
here
I'm
we
going
go.
to post a link in the chat that'll allow you guys to follow along and add the setup that Lalo is showing right now.
Thank you, Alex. Yep. So
There's actually
what?
a question. Is InfoTrack only available for US customers?
Yes, so our services are for for all 50 states in the US. Or we have process serving covering all of those areas. Court filing, we connect to, I believe it's 10 or 11 states right now, that usually the highest volume states. Each state is kind of on its own court filing system, so we kind of have to connect to those individually. But a difference between us and other state court filing providers is a lot of times if you're filing in Illinois, for example, or in Texas, you file through their portal. You have one account that just files in that state. If you're filing through InfoTrack, you can actually switch back and forth between different states. Once you have your login set up, you can file in any of the states that we cover.
Yep. Thank you, Alex. I appreciate you bringing that up. Yeah, InfoTrack does have services in all of the states, in all the 50 US states, and just like Alex mentioned, one of the value added points from InfoTrack is you don't have to worry about logging into all these different portal pages, right? You access InfoTrack, and within InfoTrack, if you want to file in Texas, let's say you have operations in multiple states, right? And you want to file in Texas, you select Texas, you can find a filing to new case or search a case and file into it, right? Or if you just decided to, you have a client that has a summer home in Florida, right? And you want to also file into Florida, you switch within your project and you can also add a case within Florida because we integrate with all these different portals at the same time. So it makes it easier for you to switch between each of the different services and states within your integration. So going back to the integration itself, what you see here is the landing page for a client that's currently operating through InfoTrack and the integration. And the first thing I want to make sure that we notice, right, is the integration already at work, right? We have this banner up here that says that you're connected with Filevine and your matter Harrington versus Johnson and then Z1392. Why do I bring attention to this? Because that's the identifier of this or this project within Filevine. So if I recall correctly, it was the name of the matter itself, and there is also the identifier through vitals, right? If I go here on details, you'll see that the email address, which is the unique identifier for this specific project, is also available. So InfoTrack remembers that specific identifier. So if you decide through your operations that you're constantly changing the name of your project here, that's not going to affect the connection with us because we're connecting machine to machine. We're not reading the name of your matter. So if Harrington versus Johnson has a parentheses that you're modifying constantly of depending on which stage of your case you're in, we'll still be connected to the right place and we'll still be sending the documents and the fees back to the right place. So we do have that robust connection directly to your project. Now, something I want to bring up to note is you have all of your quick services here. In this case, you're seeing a populated order, right? We have multiple different orders being placed into this particular project. We have service process orders, we have different case filings, and like I mentioned, this is a demo. This is a demo order or the demo space. Oh, let me zoom in, sorry. A demo space where you're seeing multiple examples of multiple different services being operated at the same time. But the thing that I want to make sure is within InfoTrack, you already have your ledger, right? You already have your orders, you have all of your different services being provided here and you're able to track each of the different points. You can go to the view button available here and you'll see the state of each of these different orders. all the documents pertaining to each of these different orders. In case of a service of process, for example, you'll see the agency that made the service. You'll see the general information, the parties to serve, service instruction. If I go back to the primary matter or the project and look at a filing, right, and look at this view item, you'll also be seeing the order of the status of your court case. You'll see the documents that were uploaded to the court and the documents returned from the court with all the stamped copies. And you'll see all the pertaining case information. So it's all neatly tied into one single place in case you want to consult it. But also the nice thing is once we place an order, I'll show you in a moment how this all translates into these documents actually coming back into Filevine. So if I were to place an order, let's just go and create a new case.
Eduardo, there's another question.
Sure.
Does
Yes.
it work with PACER federal court filings?
That's a good question. Docket Sync, which is our docket synchronization filing service, does connect to Pacer. InfoTrack as a filing service is not currently operating with Pacer. But that's a good question. Thank you for bringing it up. So I want to show you, now that we're in a case workflow, for example, in this case, this is a Texas case. We're going to start using the integration from the very beginning. So I'm going to click on select from Filevine. And what that's going to let me do, it's going to let me pull in my documents that are currently in my Filevine project. How can I guarantee this? If I go back to Filevine, I go to the doc section, I'll see all of these documents available here, and also the documents within each of the different folders. Oh, let me show you a better example. InfoTrack return documents, all of the different documents that are available within the folders, visible. So I can pull any document pertaining to that project into this space. And I can also search. So if I want to go and say Dallas County petition, this, for example, this specific document, it's going to find it. So if I go Dallas County and I click search, it's going to isolate everything regarding Dallas County. So let's use this document, for example. Dallas County petition.
One
Go ahead.
moment, I just wanted to jump in too and say, this is a test matter where we have a lot of documents. Normally, if you're in a case, you might not have this many documents in it. But one thing that's really useful about this is that it prevents you from a situation where you accidentally mix up documents that are for another case with the case that you're working on. Like this might happen to you a lot if you're just pulling documents off your desktop or if a network or something like that. All these documents you're seeing are only pertinent to the case you're connected to. So it really eliminates that chance that you can make a mix-up that could result in a rejected filing. And a lot of the features that we're going to be going through here, the goal is to make it very, very difficult for you to accidentally submit something that the court is going to reject. But that's just one example.
Thank you, Alex. Perfect. Yes. To Alex's point, the connection that we do with a project maintains everything that you do in InfoTrack under the context of that specific project. If you want to work with a different project, we can change the project within InfoTrack, or you can also launch from Filevine into a different project. I'll show that once I'm done with this court case filing. Thank you for bringing it up, Alex. So for the purposes of this example, let's pick this Word document. I'm going to upload a file. It's going to pull in the preview section. So in this preview section, you'll have this document previewer on the left side, which is going to let you preview your document. You want to make sure that the document that you selected is the right one before proceeding. And once we're validating this, we can click import. Now, something I want to bring up into attention. I selected a Word document. Now, our system understands through court policy what type of document the court needs. And in this case, we automatically converted it into a PDF because that's what the court system needs. So we're not going to be sending a Word document. We're going to be sending this PDF. And then here you have the subnote, converted from a docx. So we'll give you all that information, all that feedback to let you know what we did to your document before you continue your process. So let's click on import. Now, something that you're going to be seeing here is InfoTrack Intelligence at work. InfoTrack Intelligence is our service that fills out the workflow for you by reading the data that's in your document and filling out the form. So it's going to save you a bunch of time. Like this form was not pre-populated. This form has all the specific sections that the court requires in order to make this filing. And by looking at the document on the left side, let me see. I'm going to try and zoom out to fit a few more things in here. Is that still readable, guys? Just making sure.
I can see it.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. Because I was a little bit concerned that the text was a little bit too small. But yeah, perfect. So as you can see, you have your document here on the left, right? You have your parties. And the system already went ahead, looked at the document, and filled out which court, which case category, case type, monetary amounts, filing attorney, all the parties. You see Patricia, Terry, Ignacio, and Santos Construction, which were extracted from the document, in addition to all the addresses available within the document. If we jump all to the filings, we also have the filings pertaining to this specific case, and it's selected. It's a type of file. It's a petition. Here's the filing description. Here's the lead document. And so if there's things that I want to review, is the security level correct? Is all this information correct? It saves all this time for me having to go and fill every single one of these fields by pre-filling it for me. So my task becomes a review process. Hey, is all this information correct? Did the address under Terry get set correctly? So once I'm done reviewing everything, I can click on review. It'll synchronize with the court. It'll let me know what my pertaining fees are. If you want to see a breakdown of those fees, you can click on this little icon here and it'll show you what each of the different fees pertaining to this filing is. And once you're done and you're ready to go, you click on submit and off this goes to the court. Pretty straightforward, pretty simple.
Well, just one thing I was going to add here too. So you can, for all of those, that filing process there, you are free to change any of your answers if you want to. You have full freedom to check that it
Correct.
matches against the document there. But we've seen through use of this technology that it is more accurate typically than human reviewers. And in tests, we've had like a 50% reduction in the rate of firms getting rejections by using this technology to assist their filing workflow.
Perfect. Thank you, Alex. Thank you for bringing it up. Yes, you are not locked in any way to the data that the system extracted. If you want to verify, if you want to change anything, all of that form is still free to modify. So it does give you this acceleration in your process in which you can still modify in case you notice that anything was done mistakenly or that it's not quite accurate in its extraction. But in general, you will see an improvement in your timing for filings drastically. Now, once the filing has gone through to the court, you will see that you will get this page called we call it the order details page, where you will be able to see everything regarding the status of your order. Now, for this particular order, we are in a demo environment. So unlike reality, you will notice that this court is extremely fast and it will reply immediately, and we will have the filing returned to us accepted in a matter of seconds. So now it's accepted by the court in this demo environment, and you will be able to see within InfoTrack your uploaded document and your court return document, as well as any information pertaining to the filing itself, fee summaries, payment order information, case information, etc. If you want to get your document directly from here, you can always download it and open it here. Or what I wanted to show you guys is now that I've completed this filing, the next part of the integration will take place. And I will be coming back into Filevine, right? I'm going to go to the document section. In this case, we have it configured so that any return document goes back to the return from InfoTrack folder. And you will see that there's going to be this June 10th filing here. Oh, let me see if I can get it correct. So here's the preview. Let me just make sure I move things around. This is the filing that pertains to the current demo that I just made. It's returned into my Filevine instance project. And if I want to open or load the full preview, let me just make sure that I can see it. You'll see that the document came back and it has the stamped from our demo environment available here in a real document. You'd get it stamped back from the court. So you no longer have to go and find that email that the court sends with all these documents. They're going to come directly back into your project. Now, what about the fees? Well, for this example, there's always two possibilities that InfoTrack can use to configure how your expenses return. There's the built-in version of the expenses return, which utilizes the built-in billing section provided by Filevine, where you would get items returning into the standard billing section. Or something neat that InfoTrack also has is we can customize your expense to return to whichever section you have built for Filevine to handle these expenses. So in this case, we have this expense request example section, right? And here we have this Lex Luthor, right? But we have this information available for the case that we just placed. And if I open it up, you'll see that the fields for each of these different expense items have already been pre-populated by InfoTrack. So you can just come in, verify that each of the missing fields, if any, are properly set, and you're set to go and proceed with whatever. If you want to connect to QuickBooks, if you have your own internal accounting process, you can proceed from that. Now, how does this operate? If I go back into InfoTrack and I check my integration settings, we'll be going into the expenses section where you can see how each of these different expenses returns are being configured. So let me show you this basic expense return. So what InfoTrack provides you is a custom form where you can tell us how your expense section operates. In this case, I've selected the expense request section, which is the one I have here in Filevine. And I have all of the different fields that I've already custom set up within Filevine, and I can match them to information within InfoTrack that I want to populate that data or that field. So if I want the amount to be total fee, I'll have the total fee from InfoTrack. In the memo section, I selected date ordered, but I can also have the description. I have the service name, order ID, go to the memo. So it gives you freedom to select what data in InfoTrack you want to have populated within each of the different fields within Filevine. Total
And
freedom. Go ahead, Alex.
yeah, just one thing I wanted to add here. One reason you might do this, and I think this is something that M&Y does. I don't want to speak 100% with 100% clarity on that without Kim here to confirm this, but we know a lot of our clients use this. For example, if they want to change their expenses for certain projects so that the expenses look exactly the way they want them to appear on a client invoice if they're billing the client. Because, for example, by default, the expenses come back and they have all this detail about the type of filing and where it happened and all that. It can get a little confusing sometimes for the client to see that. Like they just want to know, what is this fee for? Is this for e-filing generally? So they might set up a custom expense for certain types of projects that is just provides way less information. It just comes back as saying e-filing fee. And then it's already in the format that it needs to be on the client invoice. So it can go straight through the client invoice. They bill for it. And then the whole expense of InfoTrack, which again, by the way we make money is off of the actual transactions that are filed here. But if you are billing that through the client, you end up not paying any of the expense whatsoever. So this custom expensing feature can make it really easy to send expenses right through to the client without any kind of extra work on your part.
Thank you, Alex. Appreciate the information. Yep. So this has come very handy for a lot of clients which have also multiple different project types. So if you let's read right here, the name of the projects that we have for our demo account is basic and custom project, but I've seen clients that have personal injury, lemon law, multiple different project types, depending on how they've decided to configure each of the different project types according to whatever use the client is going to give. So you might have an expense section that's ad hoc to a specific type of case and another expense section who is ad hoc to a different type, and you want them to come and have different data points. You can do that with InfoTrack. You can select what data you're going to have in which of these different fields for the expense returns. So pretty handy tool, and hope you all get to use it to the max. So from this point, right, we've placed our order. It's come back into Filevine. We have our expense filled out. We have our documents returned, and we also have our activity section. So this is the other item that I wanted to showcase to y'all, which is once you've placed an order in your portal through InfoTrack, you're gonna have your notifications for the status of that order reach Filevine. So once your order has been placed, right, through the time of this demo, these are the notifications that we have had come in for each of the different status points of this order. The order was placed, order pending in InfoTrack, case order pending in InfoTrack, order complete, and case filing order completed. And this lets you receive notifications within your activity log in Filevine. So you don't actually have to go hunting for that email that's going to tell you what the status of the order is. It's all going to be neatly tied into your project, and it's going to stay within the project. To Alex's point earlier, all of this is within the context of the project that you initiated your order from and that you place your order into. Because if I go back to the project hub, right, and I switch into a different project and I select the activities, it's going to have different data appear, this is not the orders that we just placed. This is an order from a different order that got placed into this project. So it also helps you maintain yourself organized in accordance to the projects that you've set up. So I'm going to go back to Harrington versus Johnson, and I want to show you also one of the changes that you can do within InfoTrack. So that's pertaining orders. Now let's go back to the project itself. So landing back into Harrington versus Johnson, let's say I want to switch projects while I'm working within InfoTrack. If I select switch, right, and I type here any of the other different projects, I'll have the capacity to search within my Filevine projects and switch to a different one. For example, Kent versus Luther Corp, which I just showed you. And you select it, you click on continue, and the entire context of what you're seeing will be accommodated to that project. So you'll see your orders within that project and your order history for that project. Now, if you want to see all of the orders that you placed for all of your different projects within InfoTrack, there is this tab up here called the Old Orders page, where you will see all of the different orders from all the services that you've placed to InfoTrack and the matter for which these services are associated with. So here you see the Harrington versus Johnson orders. Here you see Kent versus Luther Corp orders, and so on and so forth. So it is also a complete summary of all of your operations within InfoTrack. Now that we've seen this, any questions in terms of filing before I move on to service of process?
None have come in.
Okay, perfect. Well, I'll be moving to the other service. So in addition to court filing, we also provide service of process orders. So let me select service of process. We also have skip trace services. I want to focus on the service of process. So I'm going to do Harrington versus Johnson. I'm going to click on continue. So this is the standalone service of process workflow. It operates as an independent service, but we also offer bundled orders, which means you can order a court filing, which immediately transforms into a service of process, and then the filing of the eventual affidavit for the service of process within one workflow. Now, I'm going to proceed and show you guys what the service of process workflow looks like. 1 second, please. Let me just select any document. Let's say,
Well, while I was looking for the document, I'm just going to add too. So one thing that's kind of cool about this workflow and is a little bit different from a lot of other process serving providers that cover the whole United States is that in a lot of cases, if you have a favorite process server that you work with, you can get that a process server added to our network as an option to choose here. And you have the ability to choose which server is actually affecting your serve. So whether it's somebody that that you've used in the past that you get added to our network, or it's another one that we have available in that area, you have a choice over who exactly is serving your documents. It's not just like a black box where we just pick whoever we want. We kind of give the user choice over who to serve, which Lala will kind of show as we go through this workflow.
yep, thank you, Alex. Similar to the experience for the court filing orders, you will have a chance to upload all of the documents that you want to serve in the selector. And just like in court filing, you are allowed to select multiple documents as well. You have your capacity to preview, and once you're ready, you click on import. The extraction service will run. I'll identify all the pertaining information. And in this case, it did not select the party to serve. It's a live demo. Oh, no, yes, it did. Here it is, Donald Boucher. Okay, perfect. So we just finished selecting each of the different data points. I'm just going to select Lex Luthor because it has an address as well. Serviceable documents are going to be available here. If you want to add any more documents after this section, you're still allowed to add any documents after that or any supporting documents. And then you will be able to arrive to the partner agency section. Now, in this section, this is what Alex was referring to. Now, what you're seeing here is a demo. These are fictitious process serving agencies. But in a real order, you would see a catalog of service agencies that have been either prepared for you according to your requests, if you have a preferred agency, or if you do not have a preferred agency, you will also see recommended service agencies that are ad hoc to the specific zip code that you will be serving to. So you will be able to select from local service agencies, national service agencies, or your preferred one if you want to proceed with that. So you have full visibility of who is going to be proceeding with the service, and you also have a direct channel of communication, which I will show in a moment. But let's select just the actively connected partner agency for demo purposes, and then we will select a rush service for just for demo purposes. If you want to add more parties to serve, you can do so and expand upon the service of process order. Very straightforward. You will be able to see if you want to do a filing of the proof of service, like I mentioned before, a bundled order. So once this service of process is completed, if you check this box, you will be able to select the case on which you want this affidavit or the proof to be filed into. I'm just going to remove that for now. You also have the capacity to generate a fee summary PDF, which is a summary of fees that, with the redundancy, summaries of fees that get sent back into Filevine into a specific Filevine folder within the return documents for InfoTrack. So you will be able to select that or not. It's completely optional, depending on your jurisdiction. My understanding is that California clients will want to have this set up for their fee summaries to be available for their orders. Now, once you've set up your service of process, you go ahead and submit. And what you're seeing here is a demo order details page for a service of process order. You're in an actual order, you would see a different tab per each of the different individuals that will be served. But for the purposes of this demo, I want to be able to show you what an order in different statuses look like. So when you're serving, let's say we're using this Marlo Stanfield demo individual, you will be able to see a feed of the different actions that we're taking during this service of process workflow. You'll be able to see when it was submitted, the different attempts, notes according to each of the different attempts, and also the affidavit and proof reports for you to download. You can add proof filings if you want to file that proof directly. If you want to contact the agency, you can click here and you can send a message directly to the server to facilitate communication with your service agent. And if you want to order a new draft for this recipient, you can go ahead and reorder. You'll have access to all the different documents pertaining to the service of process here, as well as the information. Similar, just exactly the same format as your court filing order. So you don't have to figure out different type of formatting. It all follows the same rules. Order information on the left side and documents top right corner, lower right corner, order information and server information, just like we did for court filing. And on top, you'll see this, we call it the PEAT tracker. Uh, it's basically just the status of the order, right, as it proceeds to the life cycle. In this case, you'll see what different steps of the order are. And if there's anything pending, you'll see like this example here that the proof of service needs a review by the client and before being marked as complete. In the case of Stringer Bell, it's complete and it was a bad address, so it was a failed service. So you'll be able to see all these different statuses here, and you will also have the capacity to have all these activities and notifications being returned back into Filevine, as well as the proof of service and all the financial data associated with it. Any questions
Just
on service of process? Sorry, go ahead, Alex.
sure. I just wanted to jump in, kind of like frame this a little bit too. So if you are a firm that has like a favorite process server down the road that you really trust and you've worked with for a number of years, getting them added to this application is a great way to kind of just provide a lot of visibility into where your orders are at any given moment. You still have the flexibility to use that server, but if it's a mom and pop operation where you gotta put in a call to see, hey, where's that serve at? What's the status of my order? Now your whole team is going to be able to see exactly where each order is at related to that case right from your Filevine project. You'll be able to access that information immediately. So that's kind of like probably the biggest benefit to using a service like this for managing your service process.
Perfect.
Any questions coming yet? Okay.
Nope, none have come in so far.
Okay, perfect. And finally, the other item that I wanted to share with y'all is the Docket Sync service. So for the same project that we're connected with right now, I'm just going to Harrington versus Johnson and let me select a jurisdiction. Let's do New Jersey. So Docket Sync essentially is an active sync of the registry of actions or your docket and the documents pertaining within related to your specific case. It allows you to have anything that is being submitted to the case synchronized back into your matter or your project automatically for you. And it is built upon activity. So if you have a month in which you are not getting any syncs from that case because there was no activity, you will not get billed. But if you have a month which had synchronization requirements because there was a new document appearing in a docket or in the registry of actions, you will be charged for that month's subscription cost. So let me show you what Docket Sync looks like. No, let me do Texas still. So once you jump into the Docket Sync space, you will be able to have the capacity to search for a specific case and sync with that specific item. So let me select the Texas state courts. You have multiple different states, and you also for Docket Sync, we do have Pacer. We do have syncs at the federal level. But for the purpose of this demo, I'm gonna maintain the search at a Texas state level. I'm just gonna select the party name. It makes it easier to find random case. Just select Houston, and I'm just gonna just type out Smith. And like I said, these are all cases that are available in the docket and in the court system. And so these are all real cases, right, for the purposes of the demo, I am actually showing you a real query of the court. And if Mike Montalto is here, I'm going to pass on the microphone to him. He is our Docket Sync expert and lead. Mike, can you hear me?
I can. It's not letting me turn my video on for some reason. Oh, there we go.
There we go.
Sorry
Hey,
about that. I've been triple booked today. I apologize for being late. But yeah, thank you for introing, Lalo. So yeah, essentially, Docket Sync tool is meant to essentially just ensure that all of your cases are being monitored consistently, and then anything that comes out of that monitoring is put where it's supposed to be in your case management system. So we're both ensuring or reducing the risk of ever missing a filing or a calendar date, or being delayed in getting those to the person who has to act on them, and hopefully also drastically reducing the time and the cost it takes, because generally users have like a multi-step process of monitoring a docket. You've got to either monitor email, check the docket sheet on every single different court website, then you have to download the documents, rename them, email them to everyone, docket them in your Filevine project. That whole string and that whole step is completely automated and taken off of your plates, with the added benefit of ensuring that you're not missing anything. So essentially what Lalo is showing you here is how you would set up and add an individual case to your Filevine matter. And that's essentially, basically matching it with the matter that you want the folder to open up to. Because once you do sync a case with us, the documents are going to go two places automatically. They're going to go into your Filevine project in a separate folder. And then also on the InfoTrack orders page, you'll be able to access every docket sheet, every register of action that you're syncing with us, and also access the documents there as sort of like a backup place to get them.
In the process of the demo, Mike, I just got to the part where I searched for a case. So if you want to continue from there, I can follow your lead.
I'm unable to share my screen right now, so I apologize for that. But if you have a Filevine folder open, that would be the only thing I would love to show. If you have one.
So, for example, this InfoTrack Docket Sync folder that we're showing here, this is where you would see your filings come back into. So let me find an order, a project that has synchronized Docket Sync orders. 1 second.
So essentially, when you
ahead.
have this open, you can basically, basically ensure that the practice within the firm is whenever you need to check what the latest item on the case is, or find any document from the case. Maybe you need to find a motion from a month or 2 months ago. This is a consistent place where you can go. Everyone in the firm can be comfortable knowing that once they go to the Docket Sync folder, it has the latest filings in that case since they were synced. And here's just an example of what that would look like. Essentially, it would be a separate folder. I mean, we're dealing with demo accounts right now, so apologies.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's not. Yeah. But we do keep them in a separate folder, so the documents aren't going to mix in with your correspondence or medical records or whatever else is in that project folder. It'll be in a distinct folder. And I do want to note on the federal side, there's the added benefit of we're optimizing pulling that new filing from the free link before it expires. So if the firm is being consistent with only going to Docket Sync for their new Pacer filings and not clicking through those Pacer links, it should reduce the firm's Pacer spend over time as well. Because those extra clicks tend to be sort of an area of runaway costs. But if you're staying consistent with going to the Docket Sync folder, that you'll be able to avoid that as well.
Yep. To Mike's point, I was able to find a project that has active Docket Sync folders with documents. So you would see essentially InfoTrack Docket Sync dash. If I recall correctly, Mike, would it be followed by the case ID?
That is the case number there. So the C, so it would be just the case number. Yeah.
Yep. And you would be able to get all of the documents with timestamps according to when that document was pulled.
And we default to the naming convention, but if the firm has specific requirements for how the documents are named, we can work with you to customize those on the back end and apply that to anything new going forward.
Yeah, there are a few different ways this might be used too. And I'm not sure if there's anybody that's on the call today that is not currently a Filevine customer but is thinking about switching to Filevine. I think, Mike, is it right that sometimes when firms are trying to pull all their case information over from another practice management system, for example, they can kind of use Docket Sync as a way to bring in the documents from that case and get set up more quickly in the new practice management system?
Yeah, and both like for new onboarding and when you're already fully using the system, when you're syncing a case, like let's say you get a case that you're transferred into, it's already been active for a couple months, you've already got 50 or so documents on there, you could sync it with us and it would automatically pull in those prior filings into your Filevine, so you don't have to go and manually deal with every one of them. And the same thing, a lot of our clients are new to their Filevine experience, and they don't have any of their case information, at least in terms of like the court documents in the system. And this is basically a quick way to populate your Filevine projects with all the court documents from your cases. I also want to note too, what I did not mention on the state courts that we cover. We are also automatically pushing any hearing or appearance dates that come in on the docket to your Filevine calendar as well. And that's all included in the service.
Very cool.
Thank you, Mike.
You're
Appreciate it.
Awesome.
Perfect.
Well, I think we've covered pretty much at least the basics of the main core services here. Do we have any other questions that kind of came in? And again, these are the three that would be heavily utilized by the client that wasn't able to make it today. But these are all really useful for firms, especially that when you're doing a high volume litigation, just allows you to take on more casework without the stress of having to automatically do a lot of the low value tasks that you can't bill for. And reducing that risk again that you have rejected filings, that you don't know what the status of a process serve is, or that you're not up to date with the latest information on the case, and the other party might have a competitive advantage because they have their items updated. This makes it so that a lot of those things happen automatically. And if somebody is on vacation or you're just overwhelmed with the amount of work happening in all these different cases, that a lot of those actions are just automated and happen a lot more automatically.
That's all.
Thank you, Alex.
Yeah, no questions have come in, but I know when we spoke to Kimberly yesterday, she kind of mentioned the ease of InfoTrack integrating into Filevine and also the time that it saved. And so that's really huge, especially for, again, high volume litigation firms. And I think it's really cool that they'll pull those calendar items as well, because I'm sure calendaring is huge for you all when thinking about these litigation kind of deadlines. So the links to kind of InfoTrack's demo environment and their support page are in the chat. So if you all did want to take a look at that, feel free. Any other questions that you all have? Angie, any tips on litigation in general inside of Filevine that we can kind of leave as a last nugget for folks?
I just really focus on making sure you have your phases articulate, because sometimes it's really easy to get lost in the overall pipeline, right? But if we're looking at our phases in conjunction with litigation, we're seeing where it is. So maybe we need to look at that litigation phase and have something like written discovery and then experts, so that we can better gauge how many cases are sitting where. And then the other thing is reporting. We have lots of great videos on how to report, do reports. We are always happy to work with clients to set those up and best practices. But reports are a good way to check on those deadlines and make sure you got those. So phases and reports are your friend when it comes to litigation. And we're always here to support you in a variety of ways.
Thanks, Angie. Alex and team, there is a question that came in.
Yeah.
Is there an additional charge for InfoTrack?
Yeah, so I can talk about the pricing. So as I kind of mentioned a little bit earlier, most of our pricing is purely transaction based. So if this is something you just want to mess around with, like go set it up in your Filevine account, see if it's useful, there is no charge for activation. There's no charge for integrating with your account. You never pay any kind of subscription fee for InfoTrack generally. And our charges are all clearly listed at the checkout process at the end of the order. So it's normally just the one order charge for, say, a court filing fee, for a process serving fee. And that all gets, again, passed through automatically when we do our when our expenses come through automatically. If you are a firm that wants to have that as a billable expense, you can literally just pass that through directly to your client invoice and you never pay a thing. The only service that does not operate like that is Docket Sync. That's the one where it's normally a $10 per case per month sort of fee. And it's on a case by case basis. So when you subscribe to that particular case, you pay the $10 flat fee per month. But once the case ends, say you're not having documents, no documents are synced in that case in a given month, the charges also automatically end. It's not something you have to go and remember to cancel, because once the activity ends, you no longer get billed for it. Is that right, Mike?
That's correct. If in any calendar month there's no filings, there's no bill. So if you forget to close, shut off a subscription when a case closes, you shouldn't worry about getting billed. However, there's a benefit to that, because let's say 6 months down the line, some substitution of attorney or something is added to the docket, we'll pick that up and send it to you.
Yeah, and if you're interested in getting more detailed price information, if you go to our website, infotrack.com, there's a big pricing button at the top. You can also just go to infotrack.com/pricing. It'll detail pricing for all of our services. And then if you do sign up for a demo or create an account, our team, when they reach out to you, they will probably, especially if you're interested in Docket Sync, they can kind of walk you through basically if you input how many filings or how much, how many filings and process servings or how many cases you want to subscribe to Docket Sync, they can actually run a simulation of what your cost would be for manually managing these things themselves versus what the cost would be through our product, and give you like a real clear picture of basically how much money we're going to be able to save you on top of the time savings and the reduced risk of rejections. So definitely recommend doing that. I think that link is in the chat.
Yeah, it is. Thanks so much. That was all of the questions that have come in. Not sure if you all had any last tidbits that you wanted to leave folks with before we kind of wrap?
I think
I
that
think
our
you covered. Oh, go
Go
ahead.
ahead, Alex. Oh, I just want to say thank you all for being here. I think we covered the primary services that we wanted to showcase today. We do have additional property and title search services as well as deed preparation, but that's time a presentation for another moment. I also wanted to share that the setup for the integration is relatively straightforward. The requirements from an integration perspective is to have a user within the firm that has permissions to set up three things. One of them is the access to the custom editor to be able to upload the custom section with InfoTrack links available within them. That custom section can be provided by ourselves or by our sales team once the communications begin, and there is interest to initiate the integration. Access to the integration section where the two points for InfoTrack are active and permissions are activated so that InfoTrack can begin communicating with your Filevine firm. And finally, the ability to set up personal access tokens for your firm so that our backend can speak to your firm and be able to send back documents and fees appropriately. With those three permissions, you should be good to go, and the setup takes less than 10 minutes.
Yeah, and
Perfect.
that help article that Jasmine just last posted in the chat will take you through how to do all those things yourself. But if at any point you want help doing that, there also is a button at the top of it where if you request a demo, we'll just have somebody come through and do all that for you. It's something that can be activated same day, so you could be using this later the day that you want to try it out.
Perfect. Yeah. And if you're working with us already, your optimizer will kind of handle those steps for you. We'll be in communication with InfoTrack if that's the route that you want to go. If you're not working with us, oh yeah, go ahead, Mike.
I just realized all of that, secret code OTP talk what Lalo just mentioned reminded me of a brand new feature that we do have available for everyone. That actually is available at no cost if you're using InfoTrack for any projects. And that we've recently introduced a new Pacer MFA code manager. So I know it threw a bit of a wrench in everyone's operations when Pacer rolled out MFA and forced you to use an MFA code from someone else's email every time you did a filing. We have a new dashboard. You can reach out to me offline. We can set you up for whoever wants to administer that. But essentially, whenever you have to do a filing into Pacer, you can get the code through our dashboard instead of having to chase the attorney for their email. It's completely free. We just got to set you up and turn you on and sync your credentials. So if anyone's interested, I guess get in touch through the channels and we'll get you taken care of.
That's a great call out. Somebody asked about Pacer earlier, so that was a nice tie back to that. Hopefully they're still on. If not, this session was recorded. It will be up on our website usually by the end of the week. If you all have any questions, I added my email as well as Angie's email. We can connect you with the folks over at InfoTrack. Alex, I wasn't sure if you wanted me to blast your email in there, but I can definitely connect you if
Sure,
anybody.
I'll add it.
You can add mine as well, Alex.
Okay, perfect. So if you do want to reach out to the folks directly at InfoTrack, they're going to add their emails into the chat. If you all are attending Lex, we will be there as well. If you want to reach out, we have some promo codes for 30% off. So feel free to email myself or Angie and we can get you that code and a link to kind of register for Lex. If you haven't already, subscribe to our YouTube channel. We put out a lot of really great content, including these free help sessions and other tips and tricks to help make your life easier, especially when it comes to litigation. And if you haven't followed us on LinkedIn, follow us there too. We put lots of great content there as well. Alex and team, thank you so much for joining us and providing all of that knowledge. I hope you all learned something and hopefully you join us in a future free help session. Have a great rest of your day. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.